Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Roden, and today we are going to be going over the top 15 best sedans that you can buy for less than $3,000. Now, I want to say really quickly that all these sedans, any car in the world really for under 3K is going to have a decent amount of miles on it. It might even have a couple issues here and there. It is not going to be like the best deal. I want to make that very clear. So before you guys start commenting down below, oh, well, that car, you could find one under 3K, but it's not going to be in good condition. I know. And I think most people watching this video also know that. Either way, though, guys, in the top of the comments down below is going to be a link to my second gaming channel, or it's all going to be about GTA Online content. So if you want to support that channel, go ahead and check that out. But either way, let's get right to the video with number 15. All right, so coming in at number 15 is a car that's not very fast at all. Not very fast at all, to say the least. It is a Nissan Sentra B15. This car comes with a 1.8 liter inline 4 making 126 horsepower, and it is front wheel drive. And I do want to say, stock, they don't look that great, but they can look very good. So if you're going for a looker, this is a good option. There's also so much nostalgia behind this car to me, because this is a car that was in Need for Speed Underground, and it was just like right there. Like every time I played Need for Speed Underground, it was the car I went with, and I just like I love it for that. It's also pretty damn reliable because it is a old 2000s Nissan, but just be a little bit careful if you're looking for something that's like going to be really fast, like a track monster or something like that. This might not be the best choice. Coming in at number 14, however, is going to a vehicle that a lot of people hate for no reason, to be honest. The Dodge Neon SXT. This car actually comes with the same motor that's in the PT Cruiser, and I own a PT Cruiser. And let me tell you, it's not the best motor out there. It's a 2.4 liter inline 4 making 132 horsepower, and it is front wheel drive. They are not fast at all, but they are quite reliable engine wise. I've never had any issues with my PT Cruiser in terms of the motor. I've even crashed the PT Cruiser twice, and it still doesn't have any issues in the motor. But everything else is a little bit questionable about it. Like I said, they can't really make that much horsepower unless you get the SRT4 Neon, so I don't know. But they are very light, so they can be a fun little autocross machine. And you just have a blast, like, upgrading the suspension. And I think it still would be a pretty fun car. Coming in at number 13 is going to a sedan that's freaking a monster truck of a boy. The Ford Crown Victoria. These cars can be very, very fun, but that's about it. Okay, that's why it's not that much higher. It comes with a 4.6 liter V8 making 220 horsepower, and it is rear wheel drive. And the reason why I say that they can be fun, but that's about it, is because everything else about the car isn't that great. It doesn't have a good interior, it's not reliable, it's not good on gas, it doesn't look that good, especially not to me. And the only big side to it is that they are rear wheel drive, and they have a V8 in them with pretty decent horsepower. And you also probably won't be stopped by cops that much either, because it's pretty much a freaking cop car. But besides that, if you're looking for like a good daily driver, I don't know if this is the best idea. Coming in at the wonderful 12th position is going to the Honda Accord 7th generation. To be honest, any Accord under 3K is a pretty damn good deal, and you might be able to find the V6 under 3K, but I wouldn't hold your breath on that because they're a little bit more money. So for today, we're going to be talking about the 2.4 liter inline 4 that's in it that makes 160 horsepower, and the car is front wheel drive. Now, obviously, that's not the fastest out there, but it's definitely not as slow as some of the other cars under 3K. It's also a Honda, so it's reliable as hell, and it has a motor that you can probably push decent power out of, because that's almost every single Honda ever made. It's also a pretty new car, actually. This is like late 2000s era of cars, and so if you want a nice little interior, but nothing super special, but something decent, it's not a bad idea. Coming in at the number 11 spot is going to a car that my friend actually used to own, and I used to be able to drive this thing, and it actually has a little bit of pep in its step, to be honest. It's the Chevy Cruze 1st generation. It is, I'm going to be honest, the Chevy Cruze 1st gen is an economy car in a nutshell. Like, it is just dictionary definition of economy car. They come with a 1.8 liter inline 4 making 138 horsepower, and they are front wheel drive. When they're modified right, they can look good, but that's about it. Don't try like modifying this motor to make insane power, because it's not going to do it. And they're actually not as reliable as you would think. Like, you would think this is such a reliable car, it's an inline 4 Chevy, but it's actually not that reliable. It really isn't. They are, like I said though, they do have like the sensors so lightweight, and they have like decent, I guess, power. It's very quick, like around corners, if that's what you're looking for. Coming in at the number 10 spot, however, is going to the first Toyota of this list, the legendary cheap sedan line. It is a Toyota Corolla S, my friend. Once again, this car, just like the Chevy Cruze, is not fast, but it's incredibly reliable and it handles surprisingly well. So it's a little bit better than the Cruze. That's why I put it one spot higher. They come with a 1.8 liter inline 4, making 126 horsepower, and they are front wheel drive. In my opinion, they look okay. They're not bad looking, but they're also not good looking. They just look like a very average car with a little bit of a naughty side to her. It is a Toyota though, so owning this will be a very good financial investment because you're not going to have to worry about parts breaking or anything like that. And I just personally cannot believe that a Corolla is going to be higher than a Crown Vic. That just feels wrong, but I hope you guys understand. Coming in at the wonderful 9th position is a car that has a bit of a cult following for it. And to be honest, I understand it because it's a pretty good car. It is the Volvo 240. Obviously, this car is not quick. It's such an old car that it's just not going to be that quick. But holy moly, it is going to be fun. They come with a 2.3 liter inline 4, making 114 horsepower, and they are rear wheel drive. That's obviously ridiculously low power, but these things are freaking bulletproof. They just do not break. They're also rear wheel drive, so you can just do donuts wherever you go. You're going to freaking pick up your kid's prescription, donut time. You're going to freaking your sister's graduation party, donut time. Whatever you're doing, it's donut time. It also has like beautiful retro styling to it, but I wouldn't even care about the looks, to be honest with you, because it's just a fun thrasher car. Coming in at number 8 is the dictionary definition of a freaking winter beater, my good friend, the Subaru Impreza 2.5 Hawkeye. Very long name, but that's what it's called. Be very careful with this one because they can have very questionable reliability. So if you're going to pick one of these up, make sure you're looking at in the right areas, okay? They obviously come with a 2.5 liter flat 4 that makes 165 horsepower, and they are all-wheel drive. They actually come with the same motor that's in the Forester. So just saying, the Forester coming back into my videos. I love that car. Either way though, the Impreza, I would not recommend turbocharging this motor because once you turbocharge the naturally aspirated boxer motors from Subaru, that's when they start to say goodbye to the head gaskets. Obviously, it does look incredible though because it's a Hawkeye Impreza, so that's great. And it's all-wheel drive, so great for you snowy boys. Coming in at the number 7 spot is going to a big old boat, a land yacht. It is the Chrysler 300 first generation. I learned that the 300C is the one with the V8 in them, so now I'm just saying 300, baby. It sounds like it will be a fun time, but they are very heavy cars, and so they come with a 2.7 liter V6 that makes 190 horsepower, and they are rear wheel drive. Like I said, yeah, they're rear wheel drive, but that's pretty low horsepower for a car that's as heavy as it is. It does look okay. It depends on the kind of person you are for sure, whether or not you think this car looks good. It also is very luxurious, so you will be comfy as like a freaking grandfather in his recliner that he's had for 20 years. It's just like, in my opinion, it's just a very average car all around. Like, that's why it's right here, right in the middle at number 7. It is very average. You're not going to go wrong buying a Chrysler 300, but you're also not going to, you're not going to buy like the best car under 3K at the same time. Coming in at the number 6 spot is a car that I don't talk about enough because I don't talk about the whole company enough. It is Audi A6 C5. Not the most reliable because it's an old Audi, and old Audis aren't the best in terms of reliability, but it's a freaking Audi, and it's got a bunch of luxuriousness in it. It comes with a 3 liter V6 making 220 horsepower, and it is all-wheel drive. Not only is it just all-wheel drive, but it's also quattro all-wheel drive, so one of the best all-wheel drive systems in the entire world. If you're going for like purely comfort, then this is the car for you, because everything else about it isn't that great, to be honest. It's not the fastest, it's not the most reliable, like I already said, and honestly, it's a little bit offensive how ugly this specific car is, but like I said, if you're going for purely comfort for under 3K, I truly believe this is probably the most like luxurious car under 3K. Coming in at the number 5 spot is a car that, once again, we talk about all the time on this channel, the Honda Civic 8th generation. This is just a base model Civic, though. You're not going to be able to find an SI under 3K. I wish you could find an SI 8th gen under 3K. That would be goals. They come with a 1.8 liter inline 4 making 140 horsepower, and they are front wheel drive. Now obviously that is not that fast stock, but it's a Honda, so make it fast. If you want to go fast, freaking slap a turbo on it and you're quick, and you don't have to worry about it breaking because they're reliable as hell even when you modify them. They're one of the most reliable cars on this list, hands down. They're also incredibly slept on generation of Civic for looks, in my opinion. Everybody doesn't talk about how great the 8th gen sedans look. The 8th gen coupes, that's a different story. I don't really like those, but the sedans, it's just an all-around well-rounded car, except for the fun factor at first, but even that can be changed with simple bolt-ons in the tune. Coming in at the 4th position is going to the BMW 328i E46. My friend actually has one of these, and it's blown up right now. So that's saying something. These cars come with a 2.8 liter inline 6, making 190 horsepower, and they are rear-wheel drive. This is the first car to give you the option whether if you want to choose between rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. But the all-wheel drive ones most likely are going to be a little bit over the $3,000 mark, so just be wary of that. They have a beautiful interior, not as great as the A6 I would say, but still very good. They look great when modified, one of my favorite BMWs to be honest, and they're fun as hell with high horsepower and their rear wheel drive. That's like everything like about the car is good except for the reliability. It's just not that reliable. My friends literally just blew up. Rip Ben. Coming in at 3rd place, brother, is going to the Volkswagen Jetta MK5. Pretty much a German Civic, but it looks a lot better to me than the Civic, so that's why I put it at the 3rd spot. All right, buddy, it comes with a 2.5 liter inline 5, making 150 horsepower, and they are front-wheel drive. They're obviously reliable as hell. Jettas are one of the more reliable cars in the world. So I'd say like Civic, Corolla, Camry, Jetta. Those are like the 4 most reliable cars, I would say. They're much better comfort than most economy cars though, so it does have that on it. They also can't be tuned as much as a Civic, but they still can make pretty decent power, and they look actually very good to me when done right. The Mark V generation of Volkswagens, everybody hates on them. I love them. I think they look really good. So if you want to just like lower it, put some nice wheels on it, put a little bit of a lip kit on it, you're golden. 2nd position is going to the wonderful Infiniti G35 Sedan, obviously, because this is a sedans list, buddy. So you're not finding a coupe. God. This is definitely a super underrated car right now. The fact that you can even find these under 3K is kind of mind-blowing, because they come with a 3.5 liter V6 that makes 287 horsepower, and they are rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Once again, that's great. I love when companies give you the option to choose between rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive. This is one of the fastest cars on this list stock, and the VQ that's in the car is pretty decent for power. Like, you can get it up to 400. This is obviously you're only gonna be able to find a VQ 35DE under 3K, but either way, you can get that up to like 400 horsepower, and that's more than enough in my opinion. But they are going to be like absolutely beaten up for under $3,000. So if you're going to look for one of these, just be careful. Make sure you know what you're looking for. But coming in at first is a car that I honestly just don't understand how it's under $3,000 at all. But it is a Lexus GS300. It's just an all-around bargain deal right now, and because most of them are grandma owned still. And the only reason why people don't want these is because they come with an automatic only. So if you don't really care if it's an automatic or if you know how to manual swap, these are such an unbelievable deal right now. They come with a 3 liter inline 6, making 225 horsepower, and they are rear-wheel drive. That's not the fastest because they are a little bit heavy as well, and 225 horsepower isn't super quick, but it's a 2JZ, so you can make a lot more power if you want to. Obviously not as much as the 2JZ GT that's in the Mark IV Supras, but you can still make a decent amount of power out of a naturally aspirated 2J. And on top of that, everything else that's around the car is great too. It has plenty of space and luxury. It looks pretty good to me. It's pretty much just a heavier IS300, but once again, it's sadly automatic only, so manual swap it. It's reliable as hell, good gas mileage, rear wheel drive, fun luxury sedan that's reliable as hell. Like what else is there about it? But ladies and gentlemen, oh my god, I just like freestyled that like I was Busta Rhymes. But that is the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more. Whoa, tomorrow I'm going to be doing, hopefully, another deep dive on the Infiniti G35/G37s, but I'm trying to get it out here right now, but it's hard to make this G35 one for some reason. Like, everything about it online is telling me completely different things, so I'm trying to figure it out, but either way, I'm trying to make that for tomorrow. On top of that, the Acura Integra parts, I see people constantly asking what's going on with the Integra, what's going on with the Integra. It's still coming. I just am waiting on a couple more parts, and then once I get all the parts here, I'm gonna be able to like line them up and be like, okay, I'll do it in this order, and it'll be like a big series, and we'll hopefully knock them out very quickly. On top of that, it's also winter right now, so it's kind of hard to get like a time where all my friends are available, and you guys understand. But either way though, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Das Vidania. Have a nice night.